Hello and welcome to another AIC Productions video with your host Carl. Today we're going to go over paracord wrapping steering wheels. This is on my 1998 Mazda B4000 truck. I wrapped this steering wheel about 8-9 months ago. Now I didn't pick this color. This color was picked for me by my wife. It was a construction orange. But I went ahead and used it, and I've really liked how well it's held up. The color has faded a little bit and it's gotten quite dingy, but other than that I really like it. Prior to this I'd never wrapped a steering wheel with paracord, but I've seen it done. It's something very common on Jeeps and boats and things like that. So I went ahead and gave it a try. The reason being is this originally came with a steering wheel that was leather and had like a gel padding in it. And by the time I purchased the truck, that gel had started to disintegrate and was actually just oozing out. And anytime I touched the steering wheels, my hands would just be covered in black gunk. And in fact, I believe I have a video about that down below. So I went ahead and replaced the steering wheel with just a normal rubber steering wheel. The problem with that, though, is being in Arizona, the steering wheels get sun damaged very quickly. And so I got it from a junkyard, and so it had some sun damage on it. They also get very hot. And I've always had just a steering wheel cover, but the problem with those, things with them, they're expensive, they don't last very long, and they don't actually keep the steering wheel that cool. They themselves get so hot, they're very uncomfortable. The paracord, on the other hand, does seem to stay a lot cooler than obviously the steering wheel, but also even any steering wheel cover I've purchased. So I definitely like it for that. It also is nice on the hands. It offers quite a bit of grip without being too rough. Some of those steering wheel covers are either too textured or too smooth, and the paracord seems to be about right. So you ask, why am I doing a video on paracord wrapping a steering wheel when mine is already wrapped? Now, it's not perfect. I kind of need to redo some sections that I didn't do so great the first time, but I'm not going to do that. What we are going to do, let me flip my camera around here, is we're going to paracord wrap the steering wheel on my new to me Mazdaspeed Protege. Why are we doing that? Well, let's zoom in here a little bit. Sorry about that. You can see there is damage along the top edge of the steering wheel there, as well as along the sides here. So the texture of the wheel is no longer nice in the hands because there's damage to it. It's also going to continue to fall apart. Also, I think it'll add a little bit of color and customization that's easy and inexpensive to do. The paracord cost me less than $10. It also will give me something to hold on to that's not so hot in the summer. This car is going to be hopefully my daily driver, but being that it is hot in the summer here in Arizona, so I don't want to just go out and get a steering wheel cover, because if I get a black one, it's going to be hot. If I get a tan one, it will look ugly. So I went ahead and bought blue paracord. If this will, there we go. And so I'm hoping the blue doesn't get as dingy or fade as much as the orange did in my other car. So we'll see how it holds up over the next few months. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to stop right here. We're going to get set up and get going. To do this project, you do need the paracord. You need a good pair of scissors. These are my Fiskars. Fiskars, I've never had a better pair of scissors than my Fiskars. And then a lighter. The lighter is to melt the ends of the paracord after you cut it. So go ahead and pause here for a moment and get set up in the car. Alright, so there's a few different variants of paracord. This is 550. It seems to be the most common, and I purchased 100 feet of it. So it seems to be that's the most common length to purchase, or in much shorter lengths or much longer lengths. You can go to like Lowe's or Home Depot and buy paracord there. That's where the orange came from. Now this wasn't working. I thought there was fluid in there. The orange came from Home Depot or Lowe's, one of the two. I'll just remelt the end of this because it was a little bit frayed. Alright, but you can buy it just about anywhere. About this, I just happened to buy this on Amazon because, like I said, it was inexpensive. So the first thing you're going to do is just tie a quick and simple sliding knot. Just want to make sure you can slide it. Now you can have your knots be on the outside, on the front, or in the middle. I prefer them here in the middle. And the problem is it can cause your cord to be a bit spread out here on the outside edge. If you have the knots on the outside edge, your cord will be tighter in the middle, but I prefer the look and feel of the knots being in the middle, so we'll go with that. And this is just a real simple pattern that we're going to use here. Where you're just basically going to go back and forth between the two. And getting started is the hardest part, most definitely. The most important thing after you get it started is to remember that you're going over and under, over and under, over and under. But yeah, you want to make sure that when you get it on there, you get it nice and tight. You almost want it to indent the rubber, because this will come loose over time on you if you don't get it nice and tight to start off with. I'll slide this down here a little bit. Alright, so now we have our first loop, so we go back this way. We want to make this loop a little bit smaller. And the knot, it's hard to see from your angle. I'm actually going to cover that initial knot a little bit with the paracord from this end, because that will keep it tight and on there. See, didn't get that tight enough to begin with, so let's try that again. So I'll make sure you get this nice and tight. Messed up, so it got too loose on me, so I'm going to start over again here. And your fingers will hurt after this. I'm just going to tell you that now. It is hard on your fingers when you're going around and doing this, and like I said, that start is the most important and the most difficult part, so make sure that's nice and tight. Bring this around here, put the loop in it. Now we're going to pull this through and make sure that this part is nice and tight as well. Make that tight. Once you get your pattern going, it's a lot easier to keep it going. It's just the start then, because things will kind of hold each other together as you go around. And it's just loop after loop after loop. So you get your new loop in there, and then you just tighten it down. Make sure that's nice and tight, and then you pull it through, make sure that's tight. And whatever is still attached to the rest of the bundle, I like to make sure that when I pull it through that it's on top, and that way it tends to line up a lot nicer when I'm going to do that next row, and it keeps the knots from getting too big, because the knots can get a bit out of control. You want to make sure those knots stay nice and small, because if they get too big again, you're going to have spacing issues on the other end. had kind of going wrong, so we'll start over again. Alright, so we got a good start now. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the wheel, and when we get to the end, I'll show you what to do at the end. Alright, so we have finished up. When I left off, we had about that much done. And it's taken me, about 45 minutes or so to do the rest of it. Now, I was taking my time because I was hoping for a much cleaner knot. And other than right here where it was so degraded, this is about the only place I have where the knot isn't super clean, and that's just because it was really hard to wrap around this. Like, it's not as tight here as I'd like it to be, simply because I can't. The foam is exposed, you know, the core of the steering wheel is exposed, and so it just squishes here, and I couldn't get it as tight, and that's why there's a little bit of extra spacing here as well. And then if you get past that point, the knot clears up, and it's real nice all through here down to where so on this side, when you start off, you wrap the knot underneath. You can't really do that on the side you're tying off. So what I did is I actually heated up the end to where it was melting, heated up the end of my scissors, and just flattened it into itself. I did this on my truck, and it seems to be holding pretty well there. So that's what I've done. And if it ever comes loose, I can just remelt the end and squish it again, and it'll be good. It'll be good. So I'm stopping here. I have the rest of the wheel to do still, but it's about 107 today and about 35% humidity, so it is really hot. So I'm going to stop for now. Also, because of the humidity, I actually now have a blister on my finger because I was letting the rope slide more than I thought I was, and it has caused a blister on my finger. So that also doesn't help that I work in IT and I work on a computer all day long, and I don't have very calloused hands anymore. So we'll probably finish this up, the rest of the wheel up, in the coming week or two. But this part that was damaged the most, I wanted to protect it as soon as possible. So that's what we've done. If you have any comments or questions, I'll put a link to this paracord down in the description below. There are over 300 different colors. I just happened to pick this. I believe it was a royal blue, and I think it looks good. I think it matches the car well. I was deciding between yellow or blue. I figured the blue would probably get dingy less quickly. So it's a super simple, easy process. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, and I definitely think it gives you a better result than just slapping on one of those steering wheel covers you can pick up from an auto parts store. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.